So every team has its own responsibilities depending on the workloads or services they support. And let's find out why teams should have separation of duties and how we can achieve that. Thanks for joining me in today's session on AWS, and let's talk about operating model. So as we've discussed before, every team has its own responsibilities and every team should understand its role in the overall success of the business and its outcome. But it's not that every team should or must do all the tasks, isn't it? So we need to ensure that there is separation of duty wherever possible. Like for example, can you write the code, test the code, and go for a review meeting, raise support cases, talk to the customers all at the same time? Obviously not, unless you're Iron Man, but that's a different story. So that's why AWS tells us that a well-defined set of responsibilities will reduce the frequency of conflicting and redundant efforts. And business outcomes are easier to achieve when there is a strong alignment and relationships between business, development, and operation teams. Yes, like if there is one dev environment and 5 teams are fighting for the resources, it's just stupid, isn't it? The dev team does development, QA does its job, DevOps does DevOps, support takes support. So now let's see how we structure our organization to support the business outcomes. So the first model that we have is fully separated operation model, that is also called as the traditional model. So let's understand this. On the vertical axis, you see 2 entities, platform and application. Imagine this is your organization and try and relate to what I'm saying here. So the platform is basically the infrastructure itself, the hardware and software that you provision for your workload. It could be your physical hardware like network, compute resources, and also it could be your virtually hosted resources like EC2 or VMs that you host. Next is application. So this can be any application that is being used to support the workload or business development like Bitbucket, Jira, GitHub, Tableau, Infoblox, or even your custom developed applications such as inventory management or HRMS. These are applications that you develop in-house, or they could be the ones that you purchase. Next one on the top that you see on the horizontal axis, we have 2 important entities. They are engineering and operations. So engineering is very self-explanatory. Most of us are part of that business unit where we develop, build, and test the application and infrastructure we have. So you write the code, you have CI/CD in place, you create the builds, and you have a full life cycle to create your application and validate the infrastructure that you have. So this is basically your engineering part. Then we have operation. Operation, on the other hand, deals with the delivery of the application. So operation actually deals with the delivery of the application, the support involved, and updating the application and working towards the business flow itself. So it's more about the delivery aspect of the product. And all these entities that you see here, application, platform, operations, and engineering, are on its own a domain, and they are organized into separate teams. Yes, this is something we can all relate to, isn't it? So we have a platform team, an application team, an operations team, and an engineering team. I think most of the companies follow this practice of separating the work this way. And this is why we call this as a fully separate model of operating. So we have these teams, but how do they talk to each other? So let's suppose we need a new software with a production grade hardware support. So as an engineering team, we will actually raise the ticket or create request for the resource to be provisioned to us. And mostly there are tools that we make use of to create a request, which gets handled by IT service management or ITSM. Those are called the IT service management system, or if you're using ServiceNow. And based on that application that you choose, you can actually track the progress made on your request. But this has its own shortcomings. I'm not saying about ServiceNow or ITMS. I'm talking about the approach here that we have, like the fully separated model of operating. So this has its own shortcomings. So for example, one issue or incident can move around teams where people actually don't take the responsibility of ownership. So they keep on sending it across teams saying, this is not our job. This will be done by platform team. Platform team will say, no, this is operations team's issue. And all these transitions will cause a huge delay when we want the task to be completed as soon as possible. So that actually goes around until there is a huge escalation or it is being put to a high priority. Until then, it keeps on moving. And this situation has arisen a lot of times in most of the companies that I've seen. And this model will actually make teams to work on specific things, and the knowledge gets confined to specific applications and technologies, which will impact the collaborating capabilities. I hope you're getting the point. Let's move on. So next one is separating or separated application engineering and operation, that is AEO, and infrastructure engineering and operation, that is IEO, with centralized governance. So this is also called as you build it, you run it approach. And as you see here as well, we have AEO, which where we have a joint force of application plus engineering plus operations team, and that is IEO or PEO, where we have platform plus engineering plus operation. So you can call it, or you can remember it as like AEO or PEO. So there's the second one where we have separate AEO and IEO. And you can just see this diagram as well, and you can understand what exactly is going on here. So we have different application engineering team and different platform engineering team. But if you see the graph on the whole, we have application engineering and operations together. That is why it is called AEO. And we have platform engineering and operation. That is why it is called PEO. And with, of course, centralized governance. So let's talk about AEO or application engineering operations. So with three of these business units piled together, we need centralized governance, isn't it? So which means you need to have multiple business units being managed together. So that is what governance means, or centralized governance means. For this, AWS recommends that we make use of AWS organization so that we can have a master account that controls the organizational units like application engineering and operations under a single roof. But not everything is managed by the single pillar, that is AEO. So PEO or platform engineering operation comes into the picture here. So if the application team here needs resources related to the application team, the platform team is going to provide the necessary resources needed by the application team, such as development tools, monitoring tools, backup and recovery tools. Or let's suppose the application teams need actually network blocks or access to cloud tools like VMware or Infoblox or Foreman. They will be doing that as well. And the increased visibility that the application team gets working closely with the platform team allows the application team to address issues more quickly. And we have deeper engagement and closer relationship, actually that provides insight to customer needs and enables more rapid innovation. So if you see here, we have the application engineering team and we have the platform engineering team, but they also perform platform engineering and operations. And here the application engineering team will perform application engineering and operations. So whatever the task the platform engineering team needs or the platform team needs to perform its engineering activities, it will be doing it. So they need to hire resources for that as well. So as you can see here, the application engineering and developers perform both the engineering and the operations of their workload. So they will be also performing engineering and operation. And here also they will be performing platform engineering and operation. So that is the same reason why I said that if suppose the application team needs any resources, so the platform team will be providing them like your tools, the cloud tools that you have, and the engineering part also will be covered by them. So let's see a different approach to the segregation of AEO and PEO. So here it's same for the AEO or the application engineering operations. So where they are responsible for the engineering and the operation of their workload. So just like we have seen the previous one. But having said that, not always the platform team might have the skills to support a dedicated platform engineering and operations team. So for that, AWS tells us to introduce managed services, which could be the AWS Managed Services or AWS Managed Service Partners or Managed Service Providers in the AWS Partner Network. So AWS Managed Service help you to operate your AWS infrastructure more efficiently and securely. By this, you can throw in the undifferentiated work of these people. You can manage your business requirements more effectively. So what exactly it's trying to tell you here is, like, let's suppose the platform team wants to do platform engineering. So they will do their work. That's a small thing that they want to do. And they will offload the undifferentiated day-to-day operations to the outsourcer. So that is a outsourcer that you have here. So that's the managed services that you have. So you can make use of AWS Managed Services or Managed Service Partner or service providers using the AWS Partner Network. So this is another way to separate your teams or separate the operating model. So this is the last one and seems to be an interesting one as well. Here it's same for the AEO, where they are responsible for engineering and the operation for the workload. And as we see here, the platform team does the engineering and operations involved with the platform that they use to support the application team. But there is a twist here. So here the governance is centralized. It means that the standards are defined and provided to the applications team by the platform team itself on how to provision the resources or how the provisioning should be. But the application team is given the liberty to engineer or operate the platform capabilities as per their requirement. So that is why you see the graph showing application engineering overlapping the platform space as well. So for the same reason, you see here application engineers and developers perform both the engineering and the operations of their workload. Along with that, they perform the platform capabilities as per their requirement. So this is both a good and not so good thing, as the application team has more freedom, but as well they have increased responsibilities. And more so, your application team should have the enhanced skill set to make use of the platform properly. And if it doesn't, then you might just have to shut down your business unit or recruit more resources. That's the only way. Because not all the engineers that you have in your application engineering may be having the knowledge or skill for the platform tools that we have. And that's all for the operating model. And I hope you got some idea about what are the ways they are being defined. But I would request you to please read more in the documentation as well, on the AWS documentation as well, for further details. So thanks again for joining in today's session of AWS. It was fun for me to share some slides with you to understand the operating model. And if you did like it, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, then please do subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow. So until then, stay safe, stay healthy. It's Pythoholic signing off.